Welcome back down to Ice Level. As always, I'm your host, James Blennau. This week, we don't have a ton of major news in the college hockey world, so we are going to jump straight into the game of the week, a little Ivy Week rivalry, kicking us off in episode 38. Game of the week, Ivy League rivalry, number 10 Dartmouth and number 12 Cornell. Let's play some ECAC hockey. We start in the first period, halfway done. Big Green forced the turnover, and Cam MacDonald buries it home. Dartmouth takes the early 1-0 lead. Second period almost finished. Now Cornell on the PK. Big Red get a turnover in the O-zone as Jake Kraft fires Jonathan Castagna's pass home. Big Red tie it at 1. And in overtime, early on, a quick steal sends Kraft off to the races, and he ices it for the home team as Cornell wins the first Ivy League game of the weekend. The Big Red take 2 points in a tight ECAC hockey race, and they would take on Harvard in a massive rivalry matchup next. St. Cloud State is on a roll as it takes down another top 10 NCHC opponent. The Huskies beat number 9 Denver 4-2 on Friday night after a 4 unanswered goal comeback. Tyson Gross continued his performance against ranked opponents with the Huskies' first goal of the game. Barrett Hall also picked up 2 assists in the win, 1 on the game tying and 1 on the game-winning goal. Jan the Showstopper Showstock also saved 33 of 35 shots from the Pioneers after a stellar performance against Minnesota Duluth last weekend. The Huskies meet Miami at home next week as they look for a conference sweep. Robert Morris is on the hunt as the Colonials swept Holy Cross in their 2-game homestand. Friday's 5-2 win saw 5 different goal scorers as Dominic Elliott picked up 2 assists on top of that. Saturday was much closer as the Colonials held out for a 1-0 win with Tanner Klimke's second period strike winning it for RMU to take all 6 points. Let's take a look at how high they climb and who's moving in this week's standings. Bentley takes the top spot in the Atlantic at 11-2-3 with RIT at 11-7-0, not far behind. Sacred Heart at 9-4-3 and Holy Cross with the same amount of wins just behind them. Canisius with 8 wins just behind them. Robert Morris a little bit below 500. Air Force at the same record. Army at 4-10-3. Niagara at 4-11-0. And Mercyhurst at 3-12-1 in conference. Number 8, Penn State pulled off a massive sweep at number 5, Wisconsin this weekend, taking all 6 points from the Badgers in Madison. 5 straight goals on Friday night, including a Gavin McKenna hat trick and a Dane Dowiak hat trick, powered the Nittany Lions offense to the first 3 points. Saturday was much lower scoring, but J.J. Wiebusch and Reese Lawback powered the Nittany Lions to the full sweep before a massive weekend versus Michigan State. Let's take a look at the standings before going into the outdoor game weekend. Not much change in the standings this week as Michigan sits atop at 11-3-0 with Penn State and Michigan State tied for second at 10-4-0. The Nittany Lions just a point ahead. Wisconsin quite a few points behind at 8-6-0. Minnesota at 4-10-0. Ohio State struggling at 4-8-0. And Notre Dame getting their first conference win at 11-3-0. Over in the CCHA, St. Thomas is on a roll after a 7-4 win on Friday night, led into a 5-0 win on Saturday in a 2-game road trip over Lake Superior State. 10 wins in a row is bringing the Tommies to a new high in the conference as they look for their first ever NCAA tournament bid. With only 4 conference weekends left in the season, let's see how the Tommies look with teams like Augustana and Minnesota State always lurking in those standings. Tommies sit atop with 42 points with Michigan Tech at 37 and Bowling Green at 36. Augustana close behind at 35 as the race for second place is on. Minnesota State not far behind them at 31 with Bemidji State in the hunt for those middle places at 25 points. Lake Superior State down at 20 and Ferris State and Northern Michigan at 9 and 8 points respectively. Union picked up a trophy this weekend in the battle for the Mayor's Cup in Albany. A 5-4 win over Capital Region rivals RPI may not have brought them conference points, but it did bring them some buzz with Brandon Bure's game-winning overtime goal. The 5th straight trophy win brings some much-needed momentum as the Garnet Chargers head for a road matchup against Dartmouth next weekend. For now, let's check out where everyone stands in the Cleary Cup race. Quinnipiac in the solo lead with 28 points, but look out below. It's Harvard and Dartmouth each with 27 and Cornell with 26. Princeton following close behind with 22 points, and Yale and Colgate both tied at 18, with Clarkson and Union lurking at 17. Brown and RPI with 10, and St. Lawrence rounds us out in the ECAC hockey standings. In the Hockey East, UConn is on top of the state in yet another sport. They win the first trophy of the season, beating number 6 Quinnipiac 4-2 in the Connecticut Ice Final. Ingles Rink became the next stop for the Ice Bus as the number 13 Huskies are building their case for a second straight NCAA tournament berth. For now, let's see if anyone can catch these dogs in the Hockey East standings. It's another Eastern basketball school in first with Providence at 10-3-1, 31 points, with Boston College and UConn tied for second with 28. Boston University follows them with 24 and Northeastern with 22 to round out the top 5, as Maine and UMass tied for 6th with 21, Merrimack with 19, Vermont close behind them with 18, Lowell with 16, and New Hampshire with 15. Finally, in the NCHC, number 3 Western Michigan took twin 4-3 wins in a 2-game road trip to number 7 Minnesota Duluth. Game 1 was a regulation win as the Broncos held off a late 2-goal surge from the Bulldogs, keeping Owen Michael's goal as the game winner. Liam Valente ended the second one late in overtime to take 5 out of 6 points from a top 10 road trip. The NCHC is a tight conference outside the top, so let's see who's shaping up in the standings with just over a month to go. North Dakota running away with the lead right now at 38 points, with Denver in second at 30. Western Michigan follows them at 28 with Duluth at 25 and St. Cloud State at 20. It's tight at the bottom as well, with Arizona State at 17, Miami at 16, and Omaha and Colorado College tied at 15 each. In the USCHO Poll, another almost unanimous number 1 for Michigan, this time with 48 first place votes. Michigan State in second with 1, and Western Michigan in third with 1, as North Dakota and Penn State take us to 5. Quinnipiac stays at 6, Minnesota Duluth at 7, Wisconsin dropping to 8, Providence and Cornell to 10. Denver, UConn, Boston College, Dartmouth, and St. Thomas rising to 15, and Augustana, Maine, Minnesota State, Michigan Tech, and St. Cloud State taking us to 20. In the forecast this week, number 2 Michigan State visits number 5 Penn State this weekend, with Game 2 outdoors at Beaver Stadium for the first outdoor college first game since 2023. In the NCHC, number 7 Minnesota Duluth visits number 11 Denver in a 2-game set as conference powerhouses meet a mile high. And in the Hockey East, it's rivalry night on Friday as the battle for Commonwealth Avenue returns. Number 13 Boston College heads up the street to meet Boston University with the city watching. That's all for this week on Ice Level. Thanks so much for coming down with me. Next week, we'll have a very special episode coming to you from Penn State. On Tuesday, we'll have content from the stadium experience, we'll have fan interviews, and we'll have a little bit of POV from the open skate at Beaver Stadium on Friday night. But for now, I've been James Blennau. We're not experts, but it takes fans to grow the game.